Hello, Monster Hunters. Thanks to listeners like you, Beast and Bible is coming back for a second season. Here is a sneak peek of just a few frightening faith-related subjects that we've unearthed for your listening pleasure.
To the best of my knowledge, every single spiritual practice out there or community out there that buries their dead has some kind of undead monster in their folklore and in their even religions in some cases. Given all the questions we have about life after death, is that bodily? Is that spiritually? Is that different parts of a soul? How does that actually, look? And then, of course, again, this is something I discovered with the Gothic genre that I think still holds true today and actually holds true for the zombie genre in particular.
So some people will say things like, maybe evil's really for the good. These are known as Felix culpa theodicies, that evil actually brings about greater good, that you can't have without that evil. And so evil is necessary, and it's actually better that it happened. I personally don't favor those kinds of theodicies. With all due respect to them, I think they end up making evil a stepping stone to good and operate in a way that actually makes it such that evil isn't really evil anymore.
Disney was, I think, aware of this whole medieval tradition of Holbein and Dürer and these great artists who could create these skeletal figures of death. And they would often be in the background where you'd have a preacher, but behind him would be a skeleton of death kind of holding a jawbone, which is an ironic comment on his preaching as well.
Well, the orcs are quite an interesting aspect of Middle-earth, and they're one of the most disturbing elements, because the orcs as we see them in Lord of the Rings are completely evil. And Tolkien was aware of this difficulty, and he wrestled with it in various subsidiary writings. Do the orcs have free will? Do they not? Were they made by Sauron, or were they simply distorted by him? And I think it's important to recognize that Tolkien never came to a real conclusion.
He thought he was literally debating with a demon. He didn't even think it was Jameson. He was so, incredibly thrown off by the whole experience. It was so arresting to him, this experience. He didn't know what to do with it. And, basically marked the end of his time in Adventism.
And so he took his pen and said, no, I didn't renounce the Adventist church, but he said, after the debate, I was left in a measure to fall under the power of the devil and the seducing charms of spiritualism. So he admit that he had crossed some kind of line, and he'd come under this power, the power of the devil, he said, for a brief amount of time there.
And so for him, he's looking at his Adventism and saying, Ellen White is a medium. She is communicating with the spirits. The prophets of the Bible are communicating with the spirits. Daniel is seeing prophecies because he's connected with the spirits. He's interpreting biblical history and saying, we are not looking at a different phenomenon.
And many more monsters to stir your soul. Monster hunting resumes September 2nd.